Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're at it once again. We did our show a little earlier, but we wanted to catch up with Mel, aka Watching the World, because he has been at the Diddy trials. He's been, pretty much there. I mean, from the very beginning, day one. Welcome to the show, Mel. How are you doing?
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah. So you have been covering this from the very beginning. You were there at the ground floor. Like, could you explain how was it initially getting there? What was the scene like? Because it looks like you were there. Like, was this the night before, or how? What was going on in this situation?
Yeah, I've been posting a lot of videos online, especially on TikTok, on the YouTube channel, Watching the World. But basically, a lot of us traveled from far distances to attend the trial. We have people there from other countries, a guy from Germany. It's it's probably the trial of the century.
Wow. So it's getting that much attention around the whole entire world. I mean, it's
Yeah,
obvious that that's happening. Come on, it's Diddy. This is a big time person. What? So explain what the energy was. This night before, was it really exciting? Was everybody kind of like? Is this mainly the media that was here, or were regular people there showing up too, or was the media there camped out the night before?
yeah, you have the media, but also you have local people. A lot of New Yorkers are there. Some there to support Diddy, some there to support Cassie, and others are there just to find out the truth of the matter, quite frankly.
Okay. So this is showing the daughters leaving the trial that on the second day. What was that energy like? Was it like?
Oh, that was awesome. I was able to capture that footage. If you want to show them that footage, that'll be great.
Yeah, can you okay, you want me to play it? Okay, I'll play it. So
I think it's,
this is them coming out of the courtroom.
yeah, they're going to get into a black van that they show up in each day.
So were people trying to interview them on the way out?
Yeah, every day people try to stop and interview them and ask various questions, but they don't say a word.
Right, so they're just
Um,
pretty much just walking past everybody.
yeah. So I was trying to just upload to my channel, but I'll have to do that later since we already started.
Yeah, so and then you have like this. There was this weird out thing going on right here. You had people kind of acting up outside, arguing with other people. What was this whole thing about?
Okay, so I think I filmed that on Tuesday morning. What happens is people sometimes they have line sitters that hold the line for them for the next day because they don't want to sit overnight.
Hmm.
And so everybody kind of use that service, but it can be costly. So this individual in the video that you're about to show, he got upset with the owner of the company, I guess because he didn't get paid. He kept saying something about didn't get paid $1,000. And so everybody's in line and he starts going off. You could roll the tape.
You're the blue-eyed devil, motherfucker. You got it coming. You got it coming. You got it coming. Blue-eyed devil. Where's my money? Where's my money? Where's my money? Thank you. My first victory. I'm about to prove that homosexuality is a sin against God. I'm going to prove to everybody that homosexuality is a sin against God. No, it's not. All right. I know that was a white boy. Yeah, it is. Yeah, a coward-ass white boy. Thank you. You got it coming. That civil war, the next civil war is coming, white boy.
Right, so they sound like they like picked out some crazy people to sit in the line. Were they like homeless people?
Yeah, they're local New Yorkers. Right in front of him before you turned off, the guys from TMZ was there. Also, I saw Tisa Tells. She was standing there. She was the last person in the frame. The guy with the backpack on, that's Little Rodney's attorney. He's been every day with us as well. The guy with the dreads or the long hair. So it's quite a few people there. There's people from a lot of the big news outlets. Usually the big companies like CNN, CBS, they're right across the street filming. And so when the reporters come out, we're divided in a sense in the courtroom. You have the public, just a few seats for the public, but then you also have a lot of seats for the news anchors and so forth. They sit to the right. To just give you an idea of an average court day, you have Cassie's family sitting to the right. Her husband is there, her brother, what appears to be her mother, maybe a sister. They're all sitting over to the right, and then they have two attorneys. And then in the middle section, you basically have Diddy's family up front. Diddy's right in front of them, sitting at the defense table. And this is the first courthouse that I've been to where the prosecutor's table is up front. So that's pretty much the layout. And then you have a couple rows for reporters. And then you have the rows that we're sitting in for the public. And then there's a host of people moving. It's the biggest event of the century. So it's a great place to be to learn a lot. A lot of people are concerned because they want to know what's going to happen with Diddy. In the news, I'm pretty sure you've been hearing a lot of crazy talk. Tell me some of the things you've heard.
Well, first I want to ask this. Are the YouTubers, are they considered the media, or do they have a like certain media? Like if you're ABC, NBC, then you get the front row. Everybody else had to kind of file in like as a public person.
Yeah, for the most part, once you get into the building, the public is on the left, and then you have the reporters on the right hand side, the media, and they tend to take up the media. I think it's about sometimes it's 7 at a time. Sometime I've seen up to 21. So it's kind of different every day. They usually have a different point man trying to run the whole show. So there's no consistent way of doing things. Remember, I went to Trump's trial. It was a completely different, right up the street, a similar courthouse right around the block, and they totally ran it differently.
Is this more of a
Um,
fiasco than you would say the Trump trial? Was it more organized at Trump's trial, or is it more, crazier on this trial?
I would say Trump's trial was more organized because they actually gave you a ticket. And so when you got the ticket, you were good for the day. When it was time for lunch, we could go out and then use the ticket to get back in the building. They have no tickets here. And you could be in the morning and they'll send you back downstairs to get in line to come back up. And at that point, you lose your place in line.
Wow, pretty much stay in line to like make sure you get back in. You can't really venture off too far.
Right.
Yeah. So from what you're seeing, okay, let's go into day two, I guess, because we're gonna skip because there was the first initial jury like picking, and you got to see the jury get picked. And I know that a lot of people talked about that. I mean, is there anything significant that you would like to say about that whole picking process that happened? Was there anything significant about that?
Yeah, I think it was a really interesting process. Some of the people that came through, you could tell they had a motive of really wanting to be on the jury. It I noticed that most of the women that were on the in the melting pot, I call it, they had seen the video, and one of them said the video was straightforward and that Diddy was guilty. Others kind of took that same attitude, but then they tried to say, "Hey, I'm not biased. I can look beyond the video." And so I think the judge was asking additional questions to try to see, listen, is this person really unbiased or are they swayed by the video? But I think they did a good job picking. There was a guy in the pool that worked for Homeland Security, and I believe he worked for the UN on international terrorism, and so I noticed the defense wanted to get rid of him because,
Why?
well, he deals with, you know, similar. When they ask him questions, he deals with things similar, but he does it internationally. So the knowledge base that he would have brought to the table probably would have make it very hard to get Diddy, a favorable sentence. So he was um, he was strike he was struck.
Oh, so
Another lawyer came in. He knew the judge. I guess they went to school together. I don't know the details exactly. And so the judge saw him, was like, hey, it's like, hey, man, what's going on? And the judge was, kind of working to get the guy on, not get him on, but he was favorable. He didn't try to say, I'm going to recuse myself or whatever, or whatever that process is. He just asked him questions, and but eventually he was struck.
was this one of the jurors that got struck right here?
No, she's just a attendee at the trial. She goes there pretty much every day. You can play the video.
Okay, yeah, because I was trying to figure out like what people were that you interviewed, that you talked to while you were out there. What kind of people were out there, and let's see what you.
Tuning in to Watching the World. I'm here at Diddy's trial, and give us your name in the comment. What you think about it?
My name is Jacqueline Kanzer Williams. Call me Kanzer 2024 on the two major platforms, Metaverse and X.com. I've been coming to this jury selection for Sean Puffy Combs since May 5th, 2025. And I've sat every day and I've listened as we picked out all of these jurors. And apparently we have till Monday or so to actually get the final few or several. I just want to commend the judge, very transparent, very honest, very practice of the etiquette that he has is very good with determining who's the best between him and the government and the defense working together as 3 in 1. They're doing a wonderful job. And I had so much faith that I showed up late today and missed today because I knew that whoever they chose out of those 45 was going to be legit.
Shay. So here's a question. Now, let's go back to this. So here's a question I have. Were there mostly people from other like it's a federal trial, right? So who would they pick as a juror? Do they have to pick from all over the country, or is it just people from New York?
I do know they chose people from New York. I think that's who they primarily focus on for the Southern District of New York. But I'd have to do further research to see if they actually pull from around the country. So far, when I've been in court every day, they never stated anything of that sort.
So what do you think? Okay, as you're watching this trial, like, okay, so now let's go into the actual trial itself. Now you have day 2 and day 3. So I think that what day are we on now? Is it day 3 or day 4?
We're on day 4. We're on day 4.
Okay. So let's just break it up into the prosecution and the defense, right? So Cassie gets on the stand and she is being examined by the prosecution. And then now today you see
let me just stop you for a minute. There's 6 prosecutors. They're all Caucasian women. So keep going.
Wow.
So that tells you right now, you need to sober up.
Yeah.
All right. The game is no more dancing season. It's a whole new arena when you have them swinging for you. And let me tell you, they're sharp. The prosecutor, the leading one, when she was interviewing Cassie about the situation, she's talking like a doll. No, Cassie, she's talking so pleasant. She don't miss a beat.
Right.
And she's not searching in her mind for details. She knows every point right on the money. So they put a lot of time into Diddy.
So did the prosecution pick a majority female jury, or was it like a even balance between male and female?
So let me tell you about that. There were 9, I believe, out of the pool. I think they started off initially at 600 and dwindled that down to 45. Out of the 45, there were 9 black guys. They struck 7 of them, only leaving 2. So in the pool, you have 2 black guys. From what I could see, there's 8 white guys, 2 Middle Eastern looking guys. There's one older Caucasian lady. I see one Spanish and one elderly lady that I can't really tell if she's black or Spanish. So it's predominantly white males on the jury.
So do you think that was a good call? Like, if there'll be all female prosecution, this is really talking about sex trafficking. Do you think that would be a good call? Do you think based on that,
Well, you'd have to refine it. A good call for the government or for Diddy. I'll break it down both ways. For the government, it's a great call because the government strikes at 99%. You have a 1% chance in New York of beating a federal case. Now, maybe if you have money, you're a billionaire with, I think Diddy has 8 attorneys. Maybe he can be in that 1%. But it's going to be a tough situation to get out of. That's all I can tell you. As far as Diddy goes from his side, just as a spectator, I would say that based on how the trial is going so far, I think he has a pretty decent jury to work with because there's enough there that, all it takes is one and he'll be okay.
So
that's if they don't, I see rumors floating that there's other charges that possibly things that he might be coming down the pipeline. That's all speculation. But based on this here, all it takes is one person and he'll have a ride home
jury or whatever. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's go into like the first process, the prosecution examining Cassie. What would you say the actual feeling was in the courtroom? How was Diddy reacting to what she was saying? You pretty much have heard. Anyone, I'm sure that they've heard what she said. It's been all over the news. Everybody's heard what she said that happened. The master, the thing on the nipples and all the other crazy stuff that she's saying, and she just loved him so much, and he was just so mean to her. She just wanted his attention. She was vying for the attention, and she did all this for him, and he was making her do it and beating on her and this, that, the other. And what was the actual? How are people reacting to some of the things? It's all around the courtroom. What was the reaction? Because we heard the story. What was everybody acting like?
Well, everybody was pretty much shocked, I believe. That was one I'd never heard of myself. So it was rather shocking, but it does not hold up to what we heard in the media. And if this is the biggest thing that they have, because remember, you had the no Diddy going around, and that's based on the idea that Diddy was doing things of a homosexual nature. Now, obviously, that's very questionable activity, I must say. So, that falls probably into that category to some. But as far as him,
so far, you haven't heard no real homo. Like he took one of the dudes in the room and he started getting down.
Not the stuff that I heard on the internet. Like they even said some celebrities, and he was today it came out a good point. Cassie said on the stand, she says that there was no drugs in the baby oil, and the only thing that they really did with the baby oil was run it under hot water to get it hot and steamy for the sex off or the freak off.
The sex off.
It's all the same things,
right?
Same thing.
So okay, so she's wallowing around in pools of baby oil in hotels, and I'm not sure they blew it up and just had a whole pool full of it, mixing it up with semen and menstrual blood.
Yeah, it's probably like a slip and slide. You know, they was probably doing that when they put the
Right.
baby oil in the pool. Yeah, some
So, I
crazy
mean,
stuff.
when she was saying this, I mean, what was Diddy's reaction when she said certain stuff? Was he just stoic, or was he reacting to things? Was he just able to keep his cool? Was he able to not look like, oh my god, like some of the things she was saying? Was he just able to keep a stone face the whole time?
Well, he's sitting, in front of us, so I can't really see his face. But as far as his composure, when I am observing him, he seemed to held it together nice. I think today, out of all days, was his best day, where you actually start to see the Diddy that we kind of know and have observed for many years, on TV. He was his facial expressions. He was smiling. The first couple days last week when they were choosing the jury, it was a different Diddy. But now he's in a different zone. He's in a fighting zone. Um, so it's very interesting to see how he's changed over so far, and we still have about 8 weeks to go if it goes that long.
Does he
Is
look
what they're
sick?
projecting.
Some people say that, based on the drawings of the how they're drawing him, he looks really sickly and like he's been like. How does he look?
Nope, he looks good. Looks healthy. I mean, I don't know him like that, but people make up all sorts of stuff. You can't go off of. I'm watching the ladies draw those pictures all day, and sometimes they try to make Diddy look like a skeleton. One I saw today, she had his face pale white. Like, come on, she drew Cassie beautifully, but she had Diddy looking like it was Halloween. That's crazy to me.
So those pictures are not really like good, because I heard they had like magnifying glasses on their head to really zoom in on them, and that's what I think is a Rotten Mangoes. She said that they had like these kind of like ways to like zoom in so they can really get a good picture. I mean, like really
Yeah, and I'm
accurate
telling you,
image.
they're incredible. They have great skills, but when it comes to Diddy, for some reason, they make him look totally different than what I see sitting in the courtroom.
So he doesn't look nothing like that.
No, no.
And
He's
let's show.
probably
I'm gonna
he's a
show some of these.
55. He's probably a 55-year-old man, and he looks like a 55-year-old man. Nothing
Right.
different.
So this picture right here.
And these rumors about Diddy not eating, come on, it's got to be made up. If it was the case, we would probably see him looking, frail. And some people are saying he's walking and shaking. And the other day, the judge said, "Hey, do you want more water?" He says, "Yeah." So people spin that and says, "Oh, Diddy's asking for water." See, that's not what the guy looks like. I mean,
So it looks nothing like him. This is
just an
just made
older.
up.
We're all on the aging clock, so Diddy looks about where he should be.
And is his hair all white like this?
Yeah, his hair is white, but it's darker toward the front. He's what do they call it? Mixture, salt and pepper. I guess that's the way
Yeah,
people
because
portray
man,
him.
this one right here is this one really was hilarious. Hold on, let me show you this one. I don't know who they get to draw this stuff. Like these people, are they older women that's drawing these pictures?
Yeah, yeah, and they've been doing this probably for 50 years. It look like so they know what they're doing.
They made him look like
Yeah, Snow White,
right.
crazy.
He don't look like so. This is not an accurate image of this. So and
That's
then
not
I
Diddy.
think this is a picture of him looking at Cassie. I guess stepping down off the thing, and he's looking at her. I mean, they really make him look crazy. Like it's like what? Hold on, let me. Hold on, here we go. This picture right here.
Yeah,
They really
no.
made her stomach look really huge. Like, is she really that big in the stomach, like pregnant like this?
In my guesstimation, she'd be 7 or 8 months.
Right. It's like she about to pop right here.
Yeah, that's not a proper depiction of her. I don't know where you got that from. That may have come off of AI. Diddy don't
Uh,
look like that. They in that picture they make Diddy look like a fat guy, and Diddy's not like that.
right. So anyway, so okay, so some of the imaging is jacked up. A lot of like the things that they're using in the media is not so much like kind of true. So let's go into some of the things that Cassie was bringing up. So you're saying that
So
Diddy's able
can
to
I let me help you out because I think that'll give you a little framework. Okay. So here's the thing. On Friday, they set the stage for this whole trial. And the big part of it is they're trying to get Diddy with racketeering. And most people say, well, how can you give a guy racketeering when it's only one person? Okay.
What is
So that
racketeering?
pull it up. Let's get the actual definition of it. But
Yeah. So,
it's gonna break down. It's not gonna be what most people think it is.
okay, let's see.
It works hand in hand with the RICO.
So, racketeering is a type of organized crime involving a pattern of illegal activities often conducted by a criminal organization to generate profit. It's not a single crime, but a series of criminal acts performed over a period of time. The term racketeering is often associated with Racketeer Influence and Corrupt Organizations Act of RICO, a federal law designed to combat organized crime. So my thing is that if 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 considering the fact that she was the one calling up these people to come and freak off with her, and he was paying for them and they're sex workers and it's illegal, right, in New York to actually pay people for sex, wouldn't she also be involved in the racketeering? Why wouldn't she be in jail for RICO as well?
Well, we don't really know how they outline her deal or whatever, how they really approached her. We do know that the prosecutor sat down with her, so they could have put the fear of God in her, you know. We don't really know. But what we do know that if you think the government is going to lock you up, then you're going to start talking. Most people are going to start talking, and that's, I think, what could be happening in this case. But this case is not about Cassie. Um, and the way they throw it off is by showing everybody the video. And I was there watching them carefully, and they kept showing the video in slow motion. And the first day they showed it probably 5 times, play it back. You know, imagine what Diddy was thinking, sitting there probably melting through the seats, having to sit there and watch that.
Is it on like a big
So,
Mechatron thing or on the small? Remember, I don't remember
oh, it's
courtroom.
yeah, it's humongous. It's probably a 65-inch.
Wow.
Yeah, I would say monitor. So it's right in front of the crowd, so everybody can see it clear. But this case is not about Cassie, and that's where everybody's gonna go wrong. If you think that that's what it's about, you're gonna. If I was the guy in this situation, I'm just saying. I'm just trying to say, and you would have to focus on that racketeering, and Cassie is just a small part of that. The
Yeah, I
reason
think
why
it's
they
interesting that they bring her up first.
yeah, she's a star witness, but they're using her to set the precedence. Like with that video, they show that from day one, and they paint the guy as a monster. That word was used in the trial. That monster. So now, when they drop the video and you see that he's capable of doing this, and she's lying on the floor, he's kicking her, whatever, and he drug her back into the hallway, back into the room, or whatever. Now it makes it easier to believe that he did all this other stuff. See what I mean? So they playing a smart game. I'm telling you, the government is amazing how they put cases together. And
And keep playing it over and over, so it embeds in the jury's mind that image. So even when they're doing their
right. So check this out. They charging him with arson, kidnapping, right? Let's take arson. Yesterday in court, we found out Cassie started to see Kid Cudi. And he lived, I guess, no, he was visiting her in Connecticut. I guess that's where her family's from. But anyway, they were seeing each other less than 30 days, and Diddy caught wind of what was going down. So she went on to explain how essentially Diddy was going to blow up his car. They didn't really say that yet and show any pictures of a car being blown up. But one thing that came out in court is that Diddy wanted Kid Cudi's friends to see the car blow up, and so Diddy called a meeting. Now let me tell you how straightforward Diddy is. He had a meeting with Kid Cudi, allegedly with Cassie, and he said something about Kid Cudi's car, and Diddy said, "What car?" so so that was the way he introduced the thought that he said, "What car?" And I guess the car is no more. But again, in court they didn't say that yet, so I don't want to go ahead
So
and
they didn't bring that up, but how does everybody know that about the car? Is that was he what he said, Kid Cudi?
well, they have all the facts. They're just questioning Cassie about it. They might even bring Kid Cudi in. They're only asking her what pertains and what things that she might know. But it goes to show that when it comes to arson, blowing up a car, so you got to get around that, right?
Right,
How
and is
can you
arson
get
one of his charges? So arson, kidnapping.
so how are you going to get around that? Here's another thing, right? And I'm going to say, how can you get around it? Which I didn't know that this until I was in court listening. She describes all of these freak offs. Day one, they bring out one of the workers, okay? And he describes all these different things about these freak offs. I'll give you another example. I'm going to mix two stories together. He said that he would be doing these things with Cassie, Diddy in the corner doing what he do, right? Then they would leave, and sometimes they'd be gone for hours, an hour or two, and then they'd come back and maybe do another round. But in most cases, they would be like, "You can leave now. You can get out." And he was like, he don't know what they were doing when they left the room, but he was just annoyed sitting there for some time. Okay, so then the next witness comes along, Cassie, and she tells us what was happening, and that's where she describes how the guy would do what he did on her, and then they would go into the room and then use that, and that's where you get the story about rubbing on the. You see what I'm saying? So the two stories are coming together. So I made that point. Now, Cassie explains that during one of these events, um, evidently she was making out with the guy. She had, I think it's the time where she went and she was ordering something on the, she was doing something with her card on the computer, and Diddy was like, "Hey, what are you doing?" He called her, she didn't come. That led to a beating, right? A real bad beating. And that's when Diddy, she says Diddy got distracted. She don't know if he went to take a shower or went to use the bathroom, and she made a run for it. And that's when you see the video start in the hallway on that terrible CNN video.
Right.
And then
Wow.
she says, and then she describing everything about it, and she says Diddy throws the vase at her head. So we didn't know that. We knew he threw it. We saw pictures, perhaps, or whatever. But then she's filling in the blanks. Now she's painting a picture that she didn't really want to be down with these freak offs or whatever. Which today that kind of fell apart. But let's stick with that storyline. She's saying, "Oh, I don't want to do these freak offs, and Diddy's just want freak offs. Da 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 da. I want to be in love with him, whatever. I wanted to be like the main
I'm
one
sorry.
with his
It's like,
family, right?" So imagine that she's in this freak off, she gets beat,
mhm,
and then he drags her back to the room. The question is, how you get around that for kidnapping?
right.
Now,
Exactly.
see,
It's just right.
I'm not saying this or that. I'm just asking you, how do you get around that for kidnapping? It's going to
So
take a
even
miracle.
holding those people there, like, could they leave at any time, or was it like you better stay here, or or is it like
Listen, in
was it like a
America, you can't hold anybody against their will. There was a recent ball player that tried that. How many years did they give him? You can't. I don't care who it is. It's not a good practice to try to hold somebody against their will.
yeah
And then you have the video along with it. So now he has great attorneys. So, like I said, I'm taking in all the facts as I'm, you know, watching the case. But we have to see what happens because the government bats at 99%.
right?
So let that sink into your head. You know what I mean?
Because I think that some people are kind of thinking that he might be able to get off because of the fact that Cassie was able to double back. But this trial is not over. And how many do you know how many witnesses that they have total that's going to come up? Do they tell you that? Or is that like a part of it, or is it like no one knows?
I don't know. All I focused on was TD Jakes. I would love to see TD Jakes on the stand. I want to see what old pastor was doing. But other than that,
he's one of the witnesses. That known that he's one of them.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure that might be with him stepping down. I'm just so curious to know, like, what's the story? We have 2 new witnesses tomorrow that are going to be on. I don't want to state that because,
Right.
I want to be able to stay in the courtroom. I don't want to go too far with this because right now I'm able to move around nicely. I want to keep it that way. I want to be there for the duration of the trial. I got some good guys in Myron from Fresh and Fit, Armand Wiggins, Tisa Tales is there. We're all together. We're just having an amazing time watching everything go down. We're all right.
Yeah, you're in history. You're like watching history, right?
Yeah. And then we got the line outside every morning. I get there, make sure everybody gets in the building good. And I made a lot of. I mean, I would have never gotten to know Myron and people like this, Tisa Tales, which also we have Rod Mango. She's there too.
Yeah.
A lot of YouTubers, whatnot, religiously attending the trial.
Mm-hmm.
And the nice thing is I don't hear too many people coming to a solid conclusion yet. But the tide has turned today where people are starting to say free Diddy. We hadn't seen that before. But the news is kind of swaying now because Cassie on the stand today literally has some major problems. But again, this is not about Cassie.
In what way? How did she have major problems? Because the way people are describing it is that they made her out to look like a complete hoe. You know what I'm saying? That she was down with everything. She was the one asking for stuff. Diddy was like he just was giving her what she was asking for, type of thing, because she was the one request the way because of the first when she did the first thing with the prosecution, it made it seem like Diddy was asking for everything. But then today with the defense, they took the text messages and everything that the prosecution used against Diddy, and they said, okay, well, let's read the rest of this, And when they read the rest, that's when they found out that this didn't end it. It's almost like reading the Bible, right? If you just read one verse, you'll get one image of things, and then you read the rest of it, and it says something else. So it kind of. Do you think that the defense was able to completely destroy Cassie on the stand, or do you think some of the things that she said stood up, or do you think that imagery still sticks in your mind of the hotel, of some of the things that came up prior to? I asked a lot of questions.
Yeah, it's okay. I'm ready for it. I'm good. I'm tired because I get up every morning at 3:00 and go to the courthouse, but I'm sharp enough to get it done for you. So let me just break it down for you. Cassie came in yesterday. She had a great appearance. She answered so nice, and she was very strong. I didn't see her crying when she saw the videos and they showed her all those bad details. I never saw her flinch too much. I did see her cry a little bit when she talked about her relationship with Diddy back then, how it used to be. So that's where that was her soft spot from what I could see. That day was yesterday. But there was a couple of things. I'll give you a couple of examples. Cassie explained how one night in LA, Diddy has his team, right? One of them saw Suge Knight at Mel's Diner. He came in, he says, hey, and if you go to Balad TV, the guy actually tells you he's the guy who went and saw, he's one of Diddy's bodyguards. He gives the whole story on, I saw this like a year ago, and it all came together like a glove. He tells Diddy, Suge is there. Cassie says they dressed in all black like the army, right? These guys are crazy. And they grabbed guns and they took off. And I think they came back like 30 minutes later. And she said basically nothing happened. She didn't go. Okay. Today, under cross-examination, they said, "Hey, Cassie, do you remember back in, I think it was like October of last year, do you remember telling prosecutors that you did go and that you were crying because you didn't want to go?" So, everybody remembered because most of us have been there the whole time. Like, whoa, that doesn't jive. There's another case where she says in LA, the Diddy got upset with one of her friends and took a wood hanger and banged her in the head with it. And Cassie says she saw it. And so under um, examination today, cross examination, she had told these prosecutors back last year that she didn't see it. So that's how this case gets tight. And they're slow walking her and they're painting this picture of her. This is okay. Her Is she credible? Maybe not so credible as we thought. But again, this case is not about domestic violence. But last week on Friday, we did learn that the defense wanted to use that as their argument. This is a story about love and jealousy, drugs fueled relationship, and domestic violence, but not racketeering and all these other things. But again, they are describing these other issues, and I think that's the big thing they're going to have to try to get around.
So, all right, she's pregnant. And I heard that there was some things that the prosecution was trying to not let go through. Like they kept giving like a lot of objections today, not letting certain things be told. Can you go into that? Like how many objections they were doing? Do you think they were doing that to protect, like even showing her the text messages before they put them up on the screen? I heard that she got to read them first and then answer the question.
Yeah, listen, let me tell you something. I don't know how much Diddy has to pay for this. I know it's probably an astronomical number. So in doing that, you want the best attorneys that you can possibly find. I have some videos to put out. Um, I had some interaction today with Brian Steele. He's one of the attorneys. You want attorneys that are really, really good if you're shelling out the money. But I'm gonna tell you, it looks bad. It looks bad. I'm hoping that it can come together, but the judge has been putting the hammer down on Diddy's team, and I counted like the objections and overruled the prosecutors are definitely winning. They're getting way more things through. Like even for instance, Cassie was only supposed to be on this trial no later than Friday, and then today they're trying to argue to get her maybe into Monday, and the judge was not happy. I mean, and see when that happens, it kind of sets the tone for other things to go left. But the things that we see and observe, not being lawyers or what have you, we don't get the full picture without having the degrees and whatnot. So so you'd have to really. I'm gonna bring on a lawyer next week to try to define some of my questions.
Yeah, I
To
was
get
going to bring up
get a
Calvin
better
Johnson
picture,
too. If
because
you know a lawyer too, yeah, we could bring up a few
yeah,
lawyers.
no, I have a retired judge I'm gonna bring out. Um, so he was a judge like maybe 40 years or something. So he did criminal law. He lives here in New York, so I'm gonna bring him on and start breaking down some of this stuff so we can kind of understand. I mean,
From a
I
legal
covered
perspective. Yeah.
yeah, I covered Trump's trial because I wanted to see. Now listen, here's another thing. I was in the courtroom when they threw everybody out because there was such a big altercation between the judge and Costello, which was one of Trump's. Well, they kind of talked to each other about being attorney. He was a semi attorney for Trump, and this thing went on. They finally let us back in the courthouse. They gave Trump 34 felonies. Former president. He could not beat the Southern District of New York. He could not beat him.
Wow.
So
So if Trump couldn't beat him, and does Trump have more money than Diddy?
Listen. Let me put it to you this way: 99%, and Donald Trump is not in that one that beat the Southern District of New York. They're undefeated.
So all this talking about you know what? Everybody like thinking, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Do you think that this is hit? Well, you think Cassie's career is probably over with. You know what I'm saying? Well, it's probably been over with. You think she's gonna be able to recover from all the things that was said? Because it sounds like there was some STDs involved.
Let me ask you a question, right? If Diddy had given you $20 million, you think you'd be worried about a hit album?
No.
And you got a baby on the way?
No. Nope. She's gonna be doing whatever, right? But she might have like some threats going on. So she might have to be laying low, like under witness protection, or have to go to another country or something. I don't think she's gonna be able to stay in America because if he gets arrested, whatever, whoever his team is might go after her.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Or people that love Diddy, the crazy people that might be real, diehard Diddy people. But she's been able to get, but now they've heard of hit. So let's go into a little real quick. I wanted to go into this. So the defense right now is trying to break down. They're trying to go till Monday with her, okay, versus it just being ended on Friday. Why do they want to do that? Is it because because what I heard is that they did not give the prosecution all the data that they were going to use today, and then so there was this whole hoopla about this, that, the other. Like, you guys didn't give us this stuff beforehand. You guys are trying to like surprise the witness. And they wasn't going for that. So they said, okay, we got to do it this way. That's why she's able to read before they display it, right?
Right. Oh, listen, I got to stop you. My homeboy, Make It Make Sense. He's in the courtroom. I see he's on the channel. What's up, partner?
Hey, you know what? Let me go on your thing and drop the link for him. Hold on one second.
Yeah.
If he's down to come up, I would love for him to come up and give some insight.
Yeah, come on through if you want to, brother. I know this is last minute, but either way.
Yeah,
so anyway, let's keep rocking because I got to get up for court in the morning.
Right. So. Yeah, make it make sense if you want to come up because this is.
I didn't know my homeboy was on here.
Come on up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So anyway, that's just giving you a little insight into what's happening.
But I wanted to go into that. Like, why do you think they want to interview her for another or do and could you go into the fact that they had certain they had information that they hadn't given the prosecution and they had all this time to give it to them, and then is that a normal thing that happens? Or
yeah. You don't want the prosecution telling Cassie what to say or asking her, letting her know what's coming down the pipeline. So
I thought it was like a normal thing that you have to give your stuff to.
Well, they argued out these things before, like last week, Friday.
Yeah, it's being streamed on his channel and my channel. So it's on my Alchemizing Energy and DJ Genesis Detroit and Mills channel. So that's why.
Yeah. So anyway, just to go back, I'm going to tie these two things together. There are 400 exhibits. So that's why they need.
You don't see it? Hold on. Let me try it again. Hold on. Let me see. Yeah, he's saying he doesn't see it. Hold on. Let me see. Watching the world. Let me see. 777. Okay, here we go. All right, here. There we go. You got it now?
Oh, okay. So yeah, he's over here. Let me tell you what he's saying, okay?
No, I can see what he's saying. He was saying
Let me mute that. Okay, so he says, I think they will be able to prove the prostitution charge at the very least. Is this being streamed from multiple locations? If so, what's the other channel? Because the link isn't in this chat.
Hey, how are you doing?
I'm good. And yourself?
Great.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy. I wasn't ready for this.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts? This is a crazy case. This whole thing. If you want to stream it to your platform, you can as well.
No, I literally just got off. I saw Mel was live, so I jumped in. Much like Mel, I got an early morning, but I don't mind. You have some questions?
Yeah, that the main thing I was asking is that why did so you had the situation where the defense did not give the prosecution the questions up front, and so today, and I'm not sure whether they wanted to they probably used the fact that she was pregnant, that she should see it first. It shouldn't be a surprise. Like, why do you think it? Like, were they able to use that to show it to her first so it wouldn't be like stressful on her, or is that a normal thing? Like,
as I understand it, had the prosecution brought it up earlier, then it would not have been an issue. But as it stands, the judge didn't really want to debate back and forth, and so he was allowing it. I've been like going through the docket from day one, and it's a lot of. Can I curse on this channel?
Yeah, go ahead.
It's a lot of shit. Like, the back and forth is so petty. It's minutia. Whatever. I'm more concerned about the defense. I think they got some good jabs, but I think they set up the prosecution for an alley-oop on some of it. Like, some of the stuff that they were asking her specifically today, it does, for a person who does not see all the nuances, look like Cassie was happily involved in freak-offs. Once the prosecution gets her, like, let me pull out my notes. There were some things that I said that I was like, you're just, Allie, you're about to just, where is it? Some of like the text messages where they were trying to establish a relationship. I love you so much it makes me cry. You hungry, pop pop? No, thank you. That text exchange is establishing the relationship, but at the same time, the prosecutors can come back and say this was an old man love bombing her.
Right.
Mel, you believe that he loved her so much it was making him cry?
I think, man.
It was making him cry? No, I thought that Kathy said that she loved him so much. It was him saying he loved her so much.
Yeah.
It makes me cry. Oh, my God.
Cassie was like, you hungry pop pop.
Yeah. I find it hard to believe, but after I heard about the whole nipple thing, I'm inclined to believe anything at this point.
Another one was he told her, I love you so much it consumes my life.
Yeah, that's bull stuff, because the whole time she was trying to get his attention, right? Do you think that she was doing the freak offs because she was just thought that that's what he wanted? So she'd be like, yeah, I'm down. Okay, yeah, I'll do it. Or did because she liked to do it too because she got to get high?
I don't think she's saying everything she can or should say. To be honest with you, I'm a very direct person. So if it was me, I would be like, part of it was the money. Part of it was the fame and everything else. And I did these things and said these things to him to prove that I was the one so he could be my husband, so that we could move away from freak offs. It's
right.
Like you marry somebody and then they tell you they love cooking and cleaning, and then 2 years later you're doing all that. I feel like that's what it was, but she's not saying it, or maybe she doesn't know quite how to vocalize it.
So you think the prosecution kind of dropped the ball on being able to show? They probably should have shown those messages, shown the other parts of that, and said, "Listen, that's love bombing." And then but they didn't know what the defense was going to bring up. So if they would have known that, then they would have probably been able to say, "No, this was love bombing" or whatever.
They tried to do that in the first day. They tried to establish all of these things that would make her look bad. They tried to put in place her explanations for them, but it's almost impossible when you have 11 years worth of emails, texts, Blackberries, broken devices,
right.
And they were talking incessantly. So I do think that the defense had a few good jabs when they tried to catch her in lies. Specifically the one about Suge Knight. I thought that was very effective. But then right after that, they tried to catch her in a lie about seeing her friend get hit in the head with the wooden hanger, and she didn't say that. So they got 1 point for the Suge Knight because she told the prosecutors that she was in the car and she was crying. But when she testified, she said they left her at home. They caught her in a lie. But then they went right on to the wooden hanger part. Well, you said you saw your friend get hit with a wooden hanger, and she was like, I didn't say that. And I can take kind of like, I'm really good with small details. So I remember she never said I saw it. She said the girl got hit. She never said I saw it. So when she corrected them, I was like, okay, well, point Cassie. So like, Mel can tell you and attest to this. At the end, Cassie was done with being the Virgin Mary. She was giving it back to the defense attorney.
Really?
It was getting real testy. Yeah.
Can y'all get in? Could y'all go get into some of the things that were said, how they went back and forth, like that part? Because the other people are kind of like making it seem like that they made her look like a hoe and that they won today. The other content creators are kind of making it seem like they won this group.
I agree. They had some points.
So let me give you I'll give you a quick example. The defense attorney, she would be making a lot of flubs in her speech. And so she started a sentence, get lost in her thoughts, and say, strike that. And then she asked Cassie a question, and then Cassie would correct her. So that's a good example. So she was throwing those jabs and telling her basically like, I'm a little sharper than you. Basically, that's what I was picking up from it, because she's very witty with her words. What you think makes sense?
Today she was. I didn't feel that from her the first 2 days, but maybe now that she's realizing that she's gonna be there till Monday, she was like, "F this."
So they agreed. They agreed for her to be there till Monday.
No, I believe that Friday was supposed to be the cutoff.
Friday's the last day.
No.
So did the judge allow them to like keep cross-examining her till Monday? Did he agree to that?
Well, today I stayed over later, and he said basically he wants to give them 5 hours tomorrow, and that would give in totality 12 hours, for cross-examination, because tomorrow they're going to bring in 2 new witnesses, which they gave us the names, but like I said, because they haven't arrived in court, I don't want to say those names because who knows how this really works,
So do you think Jaguar is going to be on the stand as well? Are you guys aware of that?
I saw Jaguar at court. I think I saw her on Monday of this week. That's a very good question. She didn't come in the courtroom yet. I don't know. I don't know how she would be tied to this case. Well,
I think that at one point she said she was a driver or something like that. So I don't know if she's going to be really a person that. I don't know.
Okay, all right.
Right. Okay, right. Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
I didn't read anything in the indictment.
I thought that she was in there, like she was actually being, but there might be just a lawsuit against her. But so here's another question: is that so now that they brought out Cassie and her whole thing is done, do you think that there's like a whole alley-oop that the prosecution is going to bring out? Because now that they started off with her, do you think they started off with her because, is it normal for the main person to be the first person to testify? Is that normal, or do you normally do that to the end?
It could go either way. Usually you want your star witness to be first or last, depending on the strength of the case. So in this case, they wanted her to be first. Well, not first, but they put it toward the beginning. There was some contention today in court because of the time running out, that they're saying, hey, listen, if you guys are tight on time for Cassie, she's pregnant, she needs to be out by Friday. You should have made her the number one, they didn't.
I got to run. I'm so sorry. DJ Genesis, it was nice meeting you. One of my sources is on the phone, so I got to go. But Mel, I'll see you tomorrow.
See you in a couple hours.
Listen, make it basic. I would love to bring you back on and talk to you some more about if it's okay. Next time I bring Mel on, if you would join us.
It just depends because my schedule's kind of crazy now. Like I literally just got off and I took my melatonin. But I got to run. But DM me. Make it make sense now on Insta.
Okay, yeah, and I'll also can I put your thing make it make sense now on the channel to promote it?
Sure.
Make,
But I got to run. Sources don't play.
okay, go ahead.
All right,
Go ahead.
later.
Have a good one.
All right, bro. Thanks. All right, so you got the double team today. That's pretty
Yeah,
good.
that was awesome. That was great. Yeah.
Yeah, we both in the courtroom together since the beginning. So this is really good. Yeah, I'll take one more question and I got to peace out because I have to
Yeah, I
get
know you
back
got to
to
get
the
up in the morning.
courtroom.
So,
Yeah.
and please check making make sense now. Check out Watching the World 777. He's and please excuse Mel. He normally is a little more animated. Well, he still also has that. He always has that tone, but he's gonna come at it from a certain level of intellect. And not so much of like the sensationalize that. So you're gonna get the facts, the nothing but the facts. So I guess let me think what my last question is going to be. I'm trying to think. Because you just gave this is the last question. Okay, I wasn't prepared for that. Okay, let's see. All right, so the prosecution, you're saying that people say, do you think right now is it if you had to score prosecution versus defense today, what would you give the score? Who's in the lead and why?
For today only, yeah, that would be tough to answer. They're running neck to neck, maybe with a slight edge on the defense. Just for today, not in totality. So that's where I would land it. Maybe
Okay.
60-40 for the defense.
So I think on Saturday we said that we're going to try to go deep dive a little bit more further into it. Maybe this Saturday, correct?
Okay, sounds
Okay,
good.
and then hopefully I could bring a lawyer. You said you know some people. Maybe I could bring some more people, legal people up to like come up and like give their opinions on how this legal thing works. I don't really know anybody in New York, but I'm gonna see if I can bring somebody up, some lawyers from New York that know. Because I said the judge, right?
Yes. So,
But it might be
I
hard to get him.
apologize.
I'm not sure how long. If you reached out to him, how long it would take for him. He might be down the line. But I want to continue to do this to like cover this. So, and we're gonna be covering your channel as well. Mel is one of our. We collaborate all the time. So I just I know he has to go to bed. Give out some closing statements about this entire thing, this whole trial, and what you feel in the overall sense.
Well, the main thing I would say is you can't go by the media. Media is just telling you stuff, the sensational stuff. They don't want to hear a guy like me that's pretty monotone, just dropping the facts. They want to hear what makes them feel good inside. So I get that. That's all good. I ain't tripping.
Right, this ain't that channel. If you want to hear like the tea, we're gonna about facts, logic, what's the real story, what is really going on. That's not gonna happen over here.
I'm not the tea guy. This still can sway either way, and I know there's some people that don't want to hear that, but it's very likely to go either way. Now, from what I do know, there's other things coming down the pipeline, and we're just at the beginning of 8 weeks. So there's so many more witnesses. They've already proven some solid stuff so far, and it's going to be really hard to get around it. But you never know. It'll be that one juror, I guess, that says, "Hey, I don't think that this is more like domestic violence." Remember, like Johnny Cochran, how he won the case basically down to a glove.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be something like that. If he wins, it's going to be a technicality. Somebody's going to get hung up on something because they're proving a solid case, but they've been shredding. So far they've shredded
kidnapping and
witness.
arson has been kind of like laid on the table, though. Even though the other things have not been proven, kidnapping and arson is already on the table.
Listen, I watch each witness come out and lay out a story, and you'd be like, "Oh man, Diddy's in trouble," right? Which he is. Obviously, he's locked up. And then the defense attorneys come out there and they says, "Oh, but do you remember you did this on that day?" And everybody in the in the courthouse are like, "Oh my goodness!"
Right.
Like,
And
oh,
when have you looked at when you look, you see a clear line of the jury? Are they like able to to hide their expressions on things or?
no, they're very expressive, but I won't dare speak on that because I want to keep my status in the courtroom. I don't want to be,
And you say it's about
you know,
8 weeks. So here's the thing. So this trial is supposed to last 8 weeks. It can't go no further into that, or is it like it
it could
has?
go it could go further, but the judge said he wanted it over by July the 4th at the latest. But we're already behind time. They can't even get Cassie out of there by tomorrow.
So it could be a
You know.
whole lot of stuff like.
But let me just let me just break. I'm gonna give you about a 2-minute summation, all right, and then I got a piece out. Okay. Imagine I'm saying your wife, your lady, but anyway, go along with the story. Imagine your wife has done all this stuff, and as a man, you have to sit there and listen to this, and they pull up right in front of him is the TV screen. And these text messages about, hey, I'm not saying Cassie said this, I love freak offs. And the day before you heard her say, oh my God, they made me do freak offs. You know what I mean? As a man having to sit there, that's crazy. You know what I mean? So it's a lot of crazy stuff happening in this courtroom. And I think that it's going to be a big shock when they bring in all the celebrities that they've mentioned so far. Like, for instance, Michael B. Jordan. I think that's going to really blow people away when they bring him. He's on the list, I believe, to come as a witness. And he used to date Cassie, and Diddy evidently had a big run-in with him. So it's going to be definitely the case of the century, and I'm excited to be a part, to witness it myself in person.
And do you see that people are dwindling out as time goes on, or do you think it's getting more and more people coming out there?
8 weeks is a long time. I don't see people hanging in there the whole time. You might have new people planning to come in here and there, but we've already lost a little traction from what I saw on the first days.
Okay. Well, man, I know you got to get up at 3. Thank you for that. Thank you for everything. Listen, Saturday, we're going to really do a deep dive into it and really talk about everything, really get into it. Hopefully, I'll be able to bring my lawyer friend on and some people that's in the legal field to really break things down. If not, we'll still go through it. We'll really get into it deep. Right now, this is, a quick thing that we're doing because of the fact that I know that Mel has to get up in the morning, but he said he would do this for me. And shouts out to Mel because he's going to also be on. You said you're going to be on Tasha K tomorrow.
I don't want to put that out. I don't want to put that out yet.
Sorry, my bad. I shouldn't have said it.
Yeah.
Well, you're going to be on a few platforms. You don't want to promote the platform? What you're going to be doing? Okay.
Well, first I got to go on there. So,
yeah.
All right. Very good. Thanks for having me on, and I'll be talking to you soon.
Right, and please check out his channel at Watching the World 777. That's his channel. Please check him out there. This is his YouTube channel, and his IG is I am Mel Smith. So go on either of these channels to check out.
Oh yeah, and I didn't mention my good friend Lauren LaRosa from the Breakfast Club. She's been sitting with us too. I left her out. Make it make sense. Lauren LaRosa, Tisa Tells. Armand Wiggins, and who am I leaving out? Oh, Myron from Fresh and Fit. So we've been at the courthouse and really getting into this case.
Right.
Have a good night, folks, and thanks.
All right. Have a good night. Thank you so much. Peace.